All right. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Bruchim haba'im. My name is Rabbi Jesse Mordechai Charon, and it is December 26th, the 11th of Tevet. I just want to share with you, for sure, the Rebbitzin's going to introduce herself and my family here, but I just want to share with you how blessed I am. We'll talk about that in the miracles, Nisim B'chol Yom, but really when you think about doing Jewish, it's a family affair. It really is. We're kind of still in the holiday season. We had Hanukkah. We're getting ready for Tu B'Shvat soon next month. We've got Purim coming up. But I'm just so honored and blessed to have the Rebbitzin here and Nava and Ziva. And it's incredible, and again, we're an interactive community here at Temple Beth David. We're a URJ affiliated congregation. We're intergenerational, and so that means we're going to have some, you might say, oh, the babies are screaming, they're shrieing. It's music to our ears. So here, they hold a note better than I do. Some of you, our choir director's probably going to say, yes, that's true. But again, we're interactive, and we can't do it. We're blessed to have our president here with us, Judy Kern, our streaming specialist, Denise Whitlock, and incredible volunteer to come and play with Raina, Esther, Annie, so thank you. And we're interactive, so use the chat function. Let us know. Wish us a Shabbat Shalom. And Rebbitzin, what else we have going on this morning?
We are in our sunrise sanctuary, as Rabbi said, and we will kick off this Shabbat, as we've been doing, with birthday song. And yesterday we had a birthday, Lauren, and then this upcoming week we have a birthday for Barbara, and we're going to sing you a very happy birthday.
Join in.
And if you have birthdays, or if anyone, any of your loved ones or friends, let us know, and they're included in the song as well. Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach.
We think about prayer, and you're going to say, Rabbi, I'm not so religious, and I'm spiritual, and, I'm in the woods, I'm on the mountaintop, I get my spiritual fulfillment, and here, what I'm going to say? I do as well. The Rebbitzin's always saying to me, because I'm always trying to escape to the mountains of North Georgia and go hiking and camping on the Appalachian Trail, and it's fun to get away. It's fun to wake up and to, do mindfulness exercises and meditation, breathing exercises. But we always have to make sure we come back. We have to come back. And what do we come back to? We come back to life. Here are all the responsibilities, all of the obligations that we have. And that means that we have to find a way to have spirituality there, in the trenches. And that's where we are today. Here, we're in the trenches. And I hope that you find meaning. We're going to use, again, we're a URJ affiliated congregation. We use the Mishkan Tefillah Sidor. But please find meaning. Read the Sidor, the prayer book, and ask us questions. Again, we're blessed. We have our president on the stream. So if you have questions, let us know. We begin on page 184 for inspiration for prayer. Each of us enters this sanctuary with a different need. Some hearts are full of peace and gratitude, overflowing with love and joy. They are eager to confront the day to make the world a better place. They are recovering from illness or have escaped misfortune. We rejoice with them. Some hearts ache with sorrow. Disappointments weigh heavily on them. Families have been broken. Loved ones lie on a bed of pain. Death has taken a cherished loved one. May our presence and caring bring them comfort. Some hearts are embittered. Ideals are betrayed and mocked, and answers sought in vain. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we too are searching restore our hope and renew our faith. What is the Jewish response for when we wake up? We wake up with gratitude. And we always could say, maybe you've heard that now more, maybe it's more common. Oh, it could always be worse. Well, That's not a response. Of course it could always be, yeah, it could always be worse. Okay, like ma kesher, what's the point? It could always be worse. Let's not focus on those things. We have to focus and say, you know what? Maybe it could be better. And you know what helps with it being better? Having a positive attitude. Here, having a positive attitude. And that starts here this morning with Modeh Ani, page 186.
Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha.
So beautiful. The Rebbitzin will lead us on page 188 with Hine Matov.
Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
And now we are going to put ourselves in here, put this garment on, put ourselves inside the talit, to put the talitot on us. Traditionally, you rise when you put on the talitot, plural for talit, for the ritual fringe garment. And, if you're in the B'nai Mitzvah class, we have 5 incredible learners. You got to get ready. You got to get a talit. And for those that are watching us, if you need a talit, or you want to figure out how to tie the fringes, how many knots, 7, 8, 11, 13, how many wrappings, there's all the things about why is it so important. Let us know, ask us questions. We have the answers. We have the answers. So yes, any questions? Not yet. So we'll put on the talit, again, the most important thing of the garments, the fringes, and also the blessing. So let us say the blessing together. Baruch,
Baruch
Atah,
Atah
Adonai, Eloheinu, Melech, Ha'olam, Asher, Kitshanu, B'mitzvotav, V'tzivanu, Lehitateh, Batzitzit. Amen. Blessed are you, Creator of the universe, who commands us with the commandment of wrapping ourselves in the ritual fringes. We continue on page 192 with Ma Tovu.
Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Page 202, we think about Nisim B'chol Yom. And, again, there's 3 pages of these. I'm doing some bar and bat mitzvah tutoring, and, I'm working with students, and we talk about these blessings. But share with us what your blessings are, what you're grateful for. Rebbitzin, would you like to share with us what your blessings are, what you're grateful for?
A year ago at this time, our dog, our first fur baby, if you will. He had an enlarged spleen, and luckily we got him taken into an amazing, skilled vet. And with the help of God, the spleen was removed, everything was successful, and now he acts as though he has a new lease on life.
And he's 12.
And he's almost 12. So I'm just, grateful for, the amazing, and caring, skilled, caretakers for animals, and for having Shimmy in our lives. He brings so much joy to us and our girls. And that's what I'm grateful for this morning.
It's been cold. Here we're in metro Atlanta, and it hasn't been cold. I know that there's storms, snowstorms, going in the Northeast. But here, I'm going to share with you. I'm thankful for being able to use the heat. And the Rebbits and I are usually kind of she turns it one way and I turn it the other way.
But before kids, it was a completely different story. In my defense.
Right.
But now, the minimum temperature I'll allow when we're in the house is probably closer to around 72.
Right. And, but I'm so thankful. And, it's such a blessing. Sometimes we take these things for granted here. Just the little spin of a wheel, the heat is engaged and it warms the house. And, all these things, because I enjoy, thank God, I enjoy being outside and hiking and camping. But, here there are people that live in homes that don't have. They don't have the ability to, or here the electricity, God forbid, is not working, or they're having difficulty maybe financially. How much do they use? When do they use? If it's on peak hours, off peak hours. So to be thankful to be able to have a nice warm home for my family is a blessing. And our president,
Steve added that he was thankful for warm clothing. For those of you who were here with us last week, I am thankful we found an electrician who fixed the problem when we have lights.
Yes, we had some shop lights last week. So now, thank God, we can return the shop lights to the basement and actually have proper circuits working. So on page 202, let's share as the rabbis understand blessings for being created, being made in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. For being a free person.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin.
For being a Jewish person.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
For purpose.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
For harmony.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Top of page 204, the blessing for being busy with words of Torah.
We have a couple more submissions. Irene is thankful for being in TBD and Chabad, also for my boyfriend and my house, along with warm clothes. And Sonia is thankful for friends, family, and TBD.
Thank you. Let's say the blessing for being busy with words of Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
And now, let us continue our service with a little Psuke de Zimra. Rebbetzin, you want to lead us in a little Ashrei?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do the top paragraph found on page 215 from Psalm 145.
Ashrei yoshvei ve'tacha, od yalelucha sala. Ashrei am shekacha lo, ashrei am sh'Adonai Elohav.
Page 223, Yishtabach. Again, this is the start of our Shacharit service. Traditionally, we rise, but let us rise in spirit.
Yishtabach shimcha le'ad malkeinu, ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol v'ha'kadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Ki lecha na'eh Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, shir u'shvacha halel v'zimra, oza memshala netzach gedula gvura. Tila v'tiferet kedusha u'malchut, berachot v'hodot Adonai v'ad olam. Baruch atah Adonai, el melech gadol v'tishvachot, el ha'odot Adonai niflaot. Abocher b'shirei zimra, melech elchei ha'olamim.
Page 224, the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechonu v'yomechon, U'chayedecho beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, U'bizman kariv,
V'yimeru,
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, Le'olam olam me'olmaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yit'aleh, V'yit'alal, Shemei Dekudesha, B'richu, Leila min kol virchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran b'alma, V'yimeru. Amen. On page 226, we rise. Here, elevate your spirit. Recognize
They ask the Hasidic masters, where does God live? And, for sure we say God, here, God is everywhere. But when you think about where is God, we have to allow God in. So at this time, open the door for God's presence to elevate your neshamas to be holy.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
On page 229, let's, again, when we think about this blessing, Yotzer HaMe'orot, is God is the one that can do anything and everything. Let us read this English paragraph together on page 229 on the top. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot. When we think about this idea that what God can do, what we can do with the power of language, the Rebbitzin's pointing, we're going to talk about a new light, a new light that allows us to see in the power of words and hope. And it's so important. We're sending cards to everybody, this time of years, that the secular New Year is approaching. And you always can say here that you love a person, you care a person. We're so blessed here that you're with us this morning, and you're our Temple Beth David mishpacha, our family. So thank you, and connect with us. We're here for you, and you're here for us. Let's talk about the power of light. Or Chadash, page 228.
Or Chadash shal Tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro. Or Chadash shal Tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'orot.
On page 232, we focus. And if you don't know the Hebrew, if you don't know the Hebrew, in January we're taking classes. This is for sure, we're going to spend some time on this. The Shema and the V'ahavta. Rambam, Maimonides says, again, one of our greatest philosophers and Jewish commentators, says if you don't know it in Hebrew, say it in English. But if you don't know it in Hebrew, you got to learn it also. So again, please, at this time, page 232, close your eyes. Traditionally, we close our eyes, we focus. You can stand, you can sit, whatever is your custom. Both are right, but focus and recognize what you're saying. Listen to it, hear it. It's active listening.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
We continue with the next page with the V'ahavta, page 234.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 240, this Micha Mocha, we think about crossing the sea. when we think about Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our rabbi, our teacher, going out and pleading with God to part the sea on either side. And, this is really, you might say, Rabbi, what's going on here? You just said we finished Hanukkah, we're going into Purim. Rabbi, it's not Pesach. No, what are you talking about? Passover. It's not Passover yet. Yes, I understand that. But, the reason why the Pesach story, the Passover story, it is our origin story. And what does that mean? It's our origin story. We repeat this idea of this redemption, this exodus from Egypt. Here, every Friday night when we do the Kiddush, Yetziat Mitzrayim. So it's a part of our story. It's a part of our origin. And in this week's Devar Torah here in Vayigash, I'm going to talk about the end of Joseph. And, where does Joseph want to remain in Egypt, where he's lived such an incredible life? Here we're going to ask those questions. And the Torah will teach us all about the end of life of Joseph. But let us continue with Mi Chamocha, page 240.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, shira chadasha shibchu ge'ulim, l'shimcha svat hayam, yachad kulam hodu v'imlichu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Sur Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Ufdechinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, Go aleinu Adonai tzvot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Traditionally now as we prepare for the Amidah, the standing prayer, we put our feet together. We actually take a few steps forward. We take a few steps backward. We think about, transitioning into having this relationship with God, just as Moses did on Mount Sinai, just as Moses did, in the burning bush saga. And now we're ready. We're ready. So we emulate the angels for the tefillah. Page 242.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeach kol atarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'marid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umchayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanat halachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, kishem shemakdishim oto b'shmei ma'arom, kakatuv al yad nevi'echa, v'kara ze el ze v'yamar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai tzvaot, Melech kol haaretz kevodo, Adir adirenu Adonai Adonenu, Ma'adir shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo, Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, v'hu yashmienu brachamav li'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohayich Tzion, ledor vador hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish. V'shirchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
We continue on page 250 with Vishamru. When we think about Shabbat, it's such an incredible holiday. And to feel Shabbat. And this is a difficult thing. And, my rabbi would share this with me all the time. He would say, even if you're not hungry, try a little, the Rebbe and I were talking about soup, matzo ball soup. If you have a delicious matzo ball soup, try some soup. Or, maybe you don't want to feel like you want to get up. You got to get up for Shabbat, or to listen to a service, or, something. You have to figure out a way to make Shabbat special. Here, Shabbat is special. It is special. But really, you have to tap into it for it to recognize that it's special. It's always going to be special, but for you to recognize it, you have to believe it. You have to tap into it. And Vishamru helps us do that.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
In our home, it's sometimes difficult to tell when Shabbat starts and when it ends. Throughout the week, we're trying to cultivate this joy and love for Shabbat and our girls. So we constantly have Shabbat music playing.
Yes, we
Shabbat
do.
songs.
We still have Hanukkah cars here. I've got an old car. You'll know I have a CD. I don't even think they make cars with CD players anymore. But no, I think the president is shaking your head. No CD players. But no, USB ports. I've got CDs inside of a disc. So, and I think we still have Hanukkah. It's either a Hanukkah CD or a Shabbat CD. And it's such an important thing, when the Rebbitzin is sharing with us, even the way that we count our days, here that you might hear, you're familiar with, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, for sure. But in Hebrew, the whole idea of counting is Yom Rishon, Sunday, the first day, Yom Sheni, the second day. And in the morning service, we pray 3 times a day. And really, we have a psalm of the day. And in the morning service, we do this. Yom Rishon shel Shabbat, Yom Sheni shel Shabbat. That we're actually, what we're doing the entire week is we're getting ready. We're actually preparing for Shabbat. So let us read about Shabbat on the top of page 253 together. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope. For Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living. For Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness. For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh ha-Shabbat. And you have to cultivate a Shabbat practice. And, if it's, I think the Rebbitzin did a class on baking challah. If it's baking challah, to understand here, a lot of times people are baking bread that looks like challah, or it's challah that looks like bread. But, there's all this, the reason why I say that, the whole idea, what is the word challah? What does that mean? There's to mafrish challah, to separate challah, blessings that you say, all kinds of things. How many loaves of challah do you make? Here, I can't give you all the answers. The Rebbitzin teaches the class. I've taken the class, so I know all the answers. So Rebbitzin, thank you for telling me. I know. But, that could be one aspect, or lighting Shabbat candles, or joining us for Havdalah, I think 6:15 tonight.
Yes, 6:15.
6:15, Havdalah tonight on Facebook Live. So all kinds of, these are things that we recognize, or we say these are Shabbat practices. But you got to find something. If it's even sitting out, taking a few breaths and relaxing and saying a prayer, if it's Moda'ani or Matovu or Hine Matov. Or here, this one's, if you want to say, Rabbi, I just want one. You've been speaking now for half hour. Just give me a prayer to say. That's all I want. Aha. All right. Here it is. Page 260. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru. Amen.
Now we're going to turn to page 262. Again, we're going to get ready for our Torah service. And I'm going to bring the Torah out for sure if we do our service for healing. But I want to share with you a little Devar Torah. And so before we actually do the Devar Torah, we have to do the blessings. So we need your help. And if you don't know the blessings, we got to do the blessings. Rebbitzin's going to tell us the page. It's on page right there. Page 368. So I need everyone's help. You ready? Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Repeat. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. So now I want to share with you again. We're about to be really in the next. We have one more Parsha Shavua, one more weekly Torah section. Not this one next week, and then we're going to be in Exodus. Okay, that's it. Genesis. We're going to have to say goodbye to Genesis. And the story really that I want to share with you is Vayigash, the meeting of Joseph's brothers. Joseph really has reconciliation with his brothers, and he brings down Benjamin. He recognizes that Judah is going to say, please, we don't know what happened. Our other brother died, and we can't be split up as a family. And Joseph says, he sends everybody out. No one knows who he is. He starts to cry. He breaks down. He has this cathartic physical release of tears and sadness. And then he asks about his father, Jacob. And he goes and says, he goes to the Pharaoh and says, my family, 70 souls, bring them down. Bring them down into this land, into your land, here, the land of Egypt. Egypt has prospered. Look what I have done to this kingdom. We've been able to survive and thrive. Everyone's coming to us, because we knew what to do. Here, the way I had the help from Hashem to interpret your dream, Pharaoh, correctly, and Joseph gets married to the rabbis really talk about this princess. Asenath, who's really the daughter of Potiphar, the same Potiphar that he's a slave in his house where he has the Midas touch, but then Potiphar's wife accuses of a sexual attack, and he gets married. They have 2 children, Ephraim and Manasseh, and really I'm going to read just the 7th Aliyah, so we're going to go to the end now, where Joseph saves Egypt, and then we're going to transition to the Maftir, the last section that we read. Because this is something I hope, maybe we're thinking about this more and more, especially in light of the coronavirus, this pandemic and illness and sickness and death. Joseph found fertile land for his father and brothers to live on. As Pharaoh had ordered, Joseph gave them fertile land in the area around Ramses. Joseph provided all the needs of his father, his brothers, and all his father's family. Here, and this is also important, when we think about family, sometimes we say, when it comes to family, if God forbid, if I'm in like a financial bind, I know who not to go to. Here, I know who not to ask. Here, Joseph has done so well. Joseph wants to share. Joseph takes care of all of his family, his brothers, everyone. So that's really a lesson we can learn, that family really should stick together. Meanwhile, the famine was very severe and there was no bread anywhere. The people of Egypt and Canaan became weak with hunger. Joseph collected all the money that was in Egypt and Canaan in payment for the food the people were buying. Joseph brought all the money to Pharaoh's palace. Here, so Joseph was in charge of everything. And this is important about how to be a business person. You have to be fair. Not because it's a good thing to be. For sure it's a good thing to be fair, to be an honest person. I'm not talking about, you should be an honest person. No. I'm saying that in Judaism, you have to be. You have to be honest. It's part of being Jewish. So here, Joseph has a position. He's collecting the money for the resources for the bread, and he brings it to Pharaoh's palace. When their money ran out, people from all over the land of Egypt came to Joseph and complained, "Give us bread. Why should we die just because we have no money?" Joseph replied, "Bring your livestock. If you have no more money, I will give you food in exchange for your animals." Now, I say that you have to be fair, and this is the difficult thing about Joseph, because also, he's really selling something that shouldn't be sold. Here, life, bread, and this section here teaches us really that Joseph, here in my opinion, went above and went too far. Went too far. Now bringing livestock and selling yourselves, and this is the story of slavery. Here, this is the story of slavery, to be an indentured servant, and but also to show the origin of the wealth of Egypt. Here, the wealth of the Egyptian empire. From then on, they brought the livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, donkeys. All through that year, Joseph gave them bread in exchange for their livestock. The next year, they again came back to Joseph and pleaded, "Your Highness, we haven't held anything back from you. Our money and our stock of animals are used up. Now there's nothing left for you except our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your very eyes? Buy our bodies and our land in exchange for bread. We will become Pharaoh's slaves, and let our land also be his. Just give us enough food. Let us live and not die. Let the land not be devastated." So here, when we think about Joseph, as we referred to, the rabbis refer to Joseph as Joseph the righteous. Is this righteous behavior?
It doesn't sound like
Doesn't sound like it. Think about that. So you have to be careful. Here, if you start, you might, there's in rabbinic Judaism, we have this idea, ein shaliach ledavar avera. And what does this mean, ein shaliach ledavar avera? That you can't say here, and Joseph's trying to use it. Joseph's trying to say, well, hey, I work for the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh, the Pharaoh, you got to pay, bring your money. And you don't have money, okay, bring your livestock, bring the horses, bring the sheep, bring the goats, bring everything. And then they bring everything, and then they come back and they say, we don't have. And now Joseph says, okay, the Pharaoh wants more. Sell yourself. Sell your land. And really, Joseph shouldn't be doing this. Joseph really shouldn't be doing this. Again, because ein shaliach ledavar avera is you can't be an emissary for something evil. You can't say, well, the Pharaoh wants it, so I guess I'm just acting on the request of Pharaoh. And that's what Joseph's doing. So Joseph...
But Rabbi, again, as you constantly tell us, we never just read the Torah on its own. So the Torah for us as Jews is mediated by the commentators, by the great sages in generations past and even contemporaries.
That's right.
So what we're doing right now is we're just reading the surface layer.
So you have to, there's many layers.
There's so many layers to the Torah.
So Joseph, that's right. So Joseph bought up all the farmland in Egypt for Pharaoh. Every farmer in Egypt sold his field because the famine was too much for them, and all the land became Pharaoh's property. Joseph transferred the people from the farms to the cities, but Joseph did not buy the lands of the priests because they were given food by Pharaoh. Joseph said to the people, I have bought your bodies and your land for Pharaoh. Now I will give you seeds so that you can plant your fields. When you harvest your crops, you will have to give a fifth of them to Pharaoh. You can keep the other 4 parts as seed for your fields and as food for your families. So here, think about that too. That the idea that you're responsible. That's a difficult thing. Now they're here. I remember we used to, I guess I was told stories. Maybe you remember. We used to have freedom gardens. You remember freedom gardens? People had growing their own fruits and vegetables. This is at the time here of World War II. So I don't remember. But here now, the Rebbetzin and I, we started, I guess, with the help of some master gardeners. We have a delicious garden here that we started on Temple Beth David.
And with their continued efforts as volunteers tending to the wonderful garden.
And don't think, again, we know what's going on. So I think that we've had some volunteers up there putting, things over the vegetables so they don't freeze, some plastic, and keeping everything really nice and clean. But the idea is here, when food is scarce, to be able to do these things and to be self-reliant. Now I want to transition to the maftir. And the maftir is Joseph is thinking about his legacy. What is Joseph's legacy? And when we talk about legacy, where do you want to be buried? Here it's an important question. Where do you want to be buried? Joseph says, do not bury me in Egypt. But I just read that entire here, the whole aliyah, about all the incredible things Joseph did for Egypt. He's creating a legacy in Egypt for his family, for his children. And he says, nope, not this place. I don't want to be buried here. Do not bury me in Egypt. They gratefully exclaimed, you have saved our lives. We will gladly be Pharaoh's slaves. Joseph passed a law that 1/5 of whatever grew on the farmland of Egypt belonged to Pharaoh. Only the priestly lands did not belong to Pharaoh. Meanwhile, the tribes of Israel lived in the land of Egypt in the district of Goshen. They bought land there, and their numbers increased very rapidly. And that is the end. Next week we have Vayechi, which is really the life, but the death of Joseph's father Jacob. But think about this. That Joseph says, and I can't live here. I mean, I can live here, but I can't die here. And so think about that. And it's an important thing to think about, where, and it's a story of Moses going into the Nile and picking up the bones of Joseph and bringing the bones to the land of Israel. And in Israel, here it's people travel after their souls have left their bodies. Their bodies travel to Israel. A lot of people, it's a custom to actually be buried in the land of Israel. There's a mountain called Har Menuchot, Har Menuchos, where people are buried, or people go to Israel to be buried in the land of Israel. But wherever you're buried, think about that. Here at Temple Beth David, we're blessed to have our little section of a cemetery, and you got to think about these things. It's a sad topic to think about. Well, we have to think about these things now. Who's going to visit us? Who's going to say Kaddish for us? Who's going to put a stone on the matzeva? When we have an unveiling, how are we going to do that? Who's going to come and visit? And we're going to go and be blessed to ask for our loved ones to intercede. And the Rebbetzin and I try to visit when we go, to see Nana, to see our family, to see friends that we have that are no longer living, but to go and to visit in the cemeteries. And it's an important thing, and Joseph talks about that. So it's not an easy topic, but I want to share that it's something that we have to think about.
And it's part of our Jewish tradition, and it's truly a mitzvah to plan and to think about what our wishes are and convey them to our loved ones, so that they aren't caught off guard, and so that they don't have to make decisions thinking, oh, this is what I think that they would want, but knowing, and that helps with just the grieving process for when we do leave this earthly life, but it also gives us a sense of peace, knowing that
We fulfilled their wishes. And that's what Joseph's doing here. Joseph's telling his family that, listen, I know I've done incredible things for this country. Look, I've brought this country all the riches and helped people, and they've survived, or maybe I haven't helped people, but maybe you think I've done amazing things, so therefore I want to be here. I want my legacy to be in this country. No, that's not true. I don't want my legacy to be in this country. Bring me home to the land of Israel, the land of my birth. So let us bring out the Torah on page 362 with our Torah service, and we'll get ready for the Mishaberach. When the Torah comes out, please rise in body and or spirit.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, v'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Please rise in body and or spirit for our Sefer Torah.
Av harachamim, heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki levad batachnu, melech el v'nisa, Adon olamim.
Top of page 364.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai mi Yerushalayim.
Page 366.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'gdushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, Unramim Shemo yachdav, Lecha Adonai, Hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki chov hashamayim u'va'aretz, ki chov hashamayim u'va'aretz, Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'minaseh lechol erosh.
On page 368 on the bottom, we did the blessing for the Oleh, for the Aliyah, but now we have to do the blessing because we finished it. So let's do the blessing on page 368, the second blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'chotenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
With our holy Torah out on page 271, this is the time for the Mishaberach, a blessing for healing, for a refuah shlema, a full recovery of the mind, of the body, of the spirit. Please share with us all those that are in need of healing.
Hermina and Alex Levy, Stuart Freitas, Donna Pedigo, Jerry and Ray Roberts, Margot and Jerry Hunt, Joanne and Mark Schoen, Irma Schiller, Jessica Sanders Brownlee, Margaret Goldstein, Arnie Dobron, Andrew St. Clair, Don St. Clair, Sam Namer, Haley Silverman, Marcia Manishin, Irene Namer, Stephen Gillitz, Lauren Wright, Debbie Dreyer, Sarah and Bruce Adler, Debbie and Daryl Bernard, Daniel Strumer, Morris and Felice Friedman, Michael and Jean Perrin, Lisa Klein, Ira and Marcia Levine, Ann Tepper, Marilyn and Jerry Horton, Lisa Klein, Marcus Young, All those affected by COVID-19, Martine Rudolph and family, Tammy Baker, Judy Carmichael, Margaret Goldstein, Laura Friedman,
Rebbitzin.
Ada Ganger and Lenore Jacobson.
Let us pray for all those that are in need of healing, of a refuah shlema, a speedy recovery. Page 371.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue with a prayer for our country found on page 376. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire,
to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
On page 374, please rise as the Holy Torah is lifted and return to the Aron HaKodesh.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkaf Shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, Torati al tazovu, eitz chaim hi, lamachazikim ba, v'tomcheha meushar derachea, darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, chadesh yameinu kekedem. We remain standing and turn to page 586 for the second paragraph of Aleinu. Please join us. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latekenu la leotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu, shehu notei shamayim ve'yosed aretz, u'moshav yikarom b'shamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'govei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od emet
v'torato, v'yadata yom v'hashevota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim ima'al v'al ha'aretz mitachat enod v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We now turn to page 598 for the Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. And we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts. And we also, someone that was a member of Temple Beth David and moved away, passed away, Marcia Sperling. So we add her to our list of families that are mourning in Shiva. So please reach out to us and may her memory be a blessing. Richard Eggers, Zelda Abbas, Ned Isaacs, Vicki Morton, Bob Molnar, Dr. Jim Bartling, Maurice Goldstein, Joanne Sexton, Patrick Myers, George Kirchhoff, Martha Young, Donald Woodruff, Mickey McKinney, Dr. Norman Freed, Pedro Martinez, Helen Brudner, Gary Peck, Norman Laycock, Elabeth Green, Gloria Yakrus, Asher Nicholsberg, Donald Copsey, Alexander Darnofsky, Barry Roman, Rose Lesser, Erwin Paykoff, Sylvia Whitlock, Ira Alpert, Sylvia Fletcher, Sadie Dobran, Isaac Andrews, Barbara Weiss, Melvin Ely, Catherine Sachs, Henry Silver, Leonard Dobran, Herbert Rose, Eddie Ginsberg, Richard Hoffman, Aharoni, Irving Bloom. Do we have any other names to add to our list of mourning or yortzeit? We say, Zichronam livracha, may their memories forever be a blessing. We rise in solidarity as we recite the Kaddish Yatom found on page 598.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
We have one additional name, Joseph Pepper.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We are your family. Share with us, again, the simchas, the happy times, things that you enjoy, and also share with us so we can mourn with you. Page 626, Ein Keloheinu.
Before announcements.
Yes. Announcements. Do we have some announcements?
Okay, immediately following the service, Steve is hosting Shabbat Shmooze. I just posted the meeting information in the chat. You can thank Zoom this week and next week. They've removed the 40-minute time limit, so you can sit and chat as long as you want. There is one more week to the clothing drive. We took a whole SUV load over this week, and there are still probably more people in need. There is a congregational meeting on Zoom on Wednesday. The information went out about a week and a half ago, and if you haven't seen it, check your spam folder. Some of them got pulled to spam because it had an attachment. And as always, Rabbi has found a way to add more hours in the day. He's got several educational opportunities scheduled in January, and we have another star of the show out there. So I will let somebody up there tell you about the educational.
Yes, Nava is going to teach us and tell us all about the activities in January. Nava?
We have a twice-weekly Talmud class starting Mondays and Wednesdays. We also have a Hebrew for Everyone course beginning Wednesdays. And the final 3 Wednesdays in the month of January, we also have a Taste of Judaism, which is a complimentary course that is sponsored by the URJ, the Union for Reform Judaism.
Tell everybody, we already have over 20 people signed up.
So it'll be a wonderful overview of Judaism and an opportunity.
Ask the rabbi, no questions are off limits.
That's right.
All about Judaism.
So tons of amazing opportunities. And towards the end of the month of January, we have our holiday for trees, Tu B'Shvat,
where we're going to have an incredible, you have to get ready because, again, for members of Temple Beth David, we'll have an incredible little Seder that we're going to have. And
it's going to be a Seder in a box.
A Seder in a box. So it'll be incredible. It'll be amazing. It will be delicious. So please, again, we appreciate all of our members, those helping us, those that are donating, those friends of Temple Beth David. Thank you. We couldn't do it without you. And let's praise together. Page 626, Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadoneinu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. And Rabbi, this was our final Shabbat for 2020.
Our final Shabbat for the secular year of 2020. So think about that. You know, it's incredible. 2021 is, Temple Beth David has been around for, a few generations, a few decades. And thank you. I mean, here, we're going to 2021. So for all of those that have supported us, and if you have supported us, continue to tell people, because now they have greater access. You don't even have to live here. I mean, it's great that you do live here. But if you don't live here, on YouTube, on StreamSpot, we're doing amazing things, so thank you. So,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Blessings and a happy Shana Tova, a happy secular new year for all of us.